questions. I'm going to start recording this. Okay, what I wanted to do was answer any questions that you all might have from the review. So if there's any questions that you want to ask me about anything from the review, just let me know, and then we can definitely go through some of those problems and make sure that you guys feel okay about the questions that we have. So let's see. Okay, so what I really like to ask you all is, what questions do y'all want to ask me out of the review? And we can just kind of go through one at a time, just to make sure that you guys feel okay about all this stuff. And whatever problems you want to know, we will figure it out. So let's see. Let me take a look here. All right. Any questions y'all want to ask me about the review? Anything? Question 1, question 5, anything? What do you guys feel like you need help with? Anybody? Don't be shy. 2.7. Okay. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Brenda, I'm going to pull up the problems from the review that come out of 2.7, and I'll pull some of those problems up so that we can make sure that we feel okay about that. And let's see, I think I heard something else. Yeah, Kaplan, yes, definitely. Okay, so give me 1 second, y'all. Let me get those problems so I can make sure that I'm getting the right ones, okay? And we'll go through the questions that you guys might have out of 2.7. So let me go like this. And let me see. Here we go. Where are we? Here we go. Okay. Questions 2.7. Looks like we're starting at 34. Okay. Yeah, 34 through 39. Okay, so from the review, y'all, problems like 34 through 39 from the review come out of 2.7. And so I'm going to pull something up here from, let's see. Where is it? Here we go. Okay, so let me share something else with you guys real quick, and then we'll come back to the review. So let's see. Here we go. So y'all, this review got sent you, this announcement, I'm sorry, got sent to y'all today through Blackboard, and so it's got some info about test 1. So right here is the formula sheet for test 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Okay, and I'm clicking on it, y'all, just so that we can have easy access to it. Okay, that's really kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I had easy access to it. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is stop sharing this, and I'm going to come back to the review, and then I'll be kind of going back and forth between the review and the formula sheet so you guys can kind of see what's going on. So let me actually share it this way. And I know at first it's going to look a little weird, but then it should pop up and work out nice and neat. Okay, so I think you guys can see this now. Make sure. Yeah, I think, can you guys see the review still? Is the review coming up for you all? Like, can you guys see problem 34? Is that working? Let me see. I know I heard something in the chat. I want to make sure. No, okay. Let me stop sharing this then, and then let me do it the other way. For whatever reason, it wasn't coming out good. So let's do it like this. Okay. And so, guys, I'm looking at problem 34, and it says, suppose the point 1511 is on the graph of y equals f of x. We want to find a point on the graph of the function y equals f of 3x. All right, so let's take a look here. And so we know that the point, oops, let me fix this a little bit so it's not so dense. Here we go. Okay, so we know the point 15, 11 is a point xy on our graph of y equals f of x. What we want to do for part A is we want to find a point on the graph of y equals f of 3x. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to stop sharing this PCL real quick, and I am going to share the, let me see. I am going to share my formula sheet so you guys can see exactly what it is I'm looking at. So let me make sure. Yep, it's coming up. Okay. So, okay, here we go. So I'm zooming in on this part right here, okay? And I want you to look at what I have right here in terms of vertical stretching and shrinking. It says if the point xy, let's see, yeah, that looks okay. So it's missing some piece here. It's kind of supposed to look like this one, kind of down here on the horizontal. It says if the point xy is on the graph of y equals f of x, then the point xc times y is on y equals cf of x. And then this one says if the point xy is on the graph of y equals f of x, then x divided by cy is on the graph of y equals f of cx. So I want you to look at kind of, I know it's not, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. It's not letting me highlight because I'm not in, I can't write on the screen, but I am going to do this so that I can bring it into my problem. I'm going to look at this right here. So let me put that back into my, on my notes. So I'm going to do this. Let me stop sharing this screen with you guys, and let me come back to my notes so you can see exactly what it is I'm trying to do here. Okay, so here's my notes. Guys, all I'm going to do is just paste that part from the formula sheet right here into my notes. All right. So when I'm looking at the problem that I have, and I want you to look at what we have right here. We have y equals f of 3x, and over here I have y equals f of cx. So when I do a little stare and compare with those two, I can say, well, you know what? For this particular problem, my c is the number 3. So how am I going to write my points? I'm going to use this little formula. I'm going to take x divided by c, comma y, and that's what my new points are going to look like. So if you think about the original point that we were given, which was this one right here, 15 and 11, in that point, 15 and 11, this is my x and this is my y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that number 15, I'm going to divide it by the number c, and the number c in this case is 3. The y number stays exactly the same. So this is going to be 15 divided by 3, that's going to be 5 and 11. So for the first part, when I come back over here, I'm going to say that my point is going to be 5 and 11. Now, before I go on, I want to make sure that just doing that first part of the problem, did that part make sense? Did that part make sense on how we did it? On how I was able to come up with the 5 because I was dividing it by the number 3? Yeah, that's right. We're going to do the opposite. That's right. So Brenda, what I'm doing here is I'm not really going to multiply it by 3. And Kathleen, I'll show you the next one, and hopefully the next one makes a little more sense too. But what I'm really doing here, y'all, is I'm looking at how is this asking me to write it. So this part here is asking me to write it by saying take whatever you have, take whatever x number you have, and divide it by the number c. Okay. So look, let's take a look at the next one. We're going to go real slow. Look what we have now. We have y equals f of 1/3 x. Okay, so I'm going to come back over here, and here we go. For part B, we have y equals f of 1/3 x. So again, I want you to do a little stare and compare with me. Look at what I have right here, and look what we have right here. So wouldn't this tell me that my c is the number 1/3? And so since my c is the number 1/3, and the original point that we had was 15 and 11, this was my x and this was my y, Notice what we're going to do now. We're going to take x divided by the number c. We're going to leave the y number alone. So I'm going to take my x, which is 15. I'm going to divide it by 1/3. Don't get nervous if it looks like that. It's okay. So look, how do I fix this part? I can think of 15, y'all, as 15 divided by 1, or 15 over 1. And we're dividing it by 1/3. So remember what that means. That means 15 over 1 times 3 over 1, which is 45 over 1. And that's the same thing as 45. So my new point here is going to be 45 and 11. And you say, why is it still 11? Because the y number doesn't change. The only one that I'm changing in this case was the x number. And so that's why for the second part, that's my point now. Let's see. Does that part make it? Does that make more sense? Oops. Okay, what about the G? G, let me see. Let me come back to the original problem. And let me see. Where are we? This was number 34. But there was no G, right? For Brenda, for this problem, there was no G on this one. When I did 34, there was no G on 34. And Kathleen, we'll definitely try another one in a minute. Oh yes, yeah, definitely. You know, we're gonna do some more, y'all. We're gonna definitely do some more. That was just the first problem. So look, let's take a look at the next one here. I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna do. We're gonna go through 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. We're gonna go through these problems here so we can get the general idea. Okay. So I'm coming back to 35, and it says two functions f and g are related by the given equation. Use the numerical representation of f to make a representation of g. Perfect. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to come back to my formula sheet. So I'm going to stop sharing this part real quick. Oops, here we go. And I'm going to come back to my formula sheet. Let me see where my formula sheet is, right here. Okay, so here we go. So I'm looking at my formula sheet, okay? And guys, I'm going to tell you right now, the formula sheet is going to be super, super, super helpful. Okay, so I want you to look at what I have right up here at the top. It says y equals f of x plus c, or y equals f of x minus c. If you look at the vertical translations, if you look at the letter c, it is outside of those parentheses for the x's. And if it's plus, we're going up, and if it's minus, we're going down. And then there's something called horizontal translations, and that plus c and minus c is on the inside of my parentheses, right? So again, what I'm going to do here, y'all, is let me see if I can do a little copy and paste for this particular problem. I'm going to go like this, and let me copy it. And then I'm going to come back to my notes. So let me stop sharing this, and let's come back to our notes. Where are they? They're right here. Okay, so I think you guys can see this now. Yes. And one thing I'm going to do, just because I'm kind of running out of space here, I'm going to clean up some of this mess here because I want to put that piece from the formula sheet in here so that we can see it and use it as we need to, okay? So let's come back, let's come back, let's come back. There we go. All righty. Okay, and then let me go, oops. Right there, paste it, here we go. Okay, so I want y'all to do me a favor. And I know I'm kind of zoomed out a little bit. Okay. I want you to look at this part right here and tell me, do you think I would use part A of the formula or part B of the formula? And do a little stare and compare. Look at where that 7 is. Is that 7 on the inside or is that 7 on the outside? And so, yeah, Brenda, you're right. We would use the first part. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so think about what's going on here. Look what we're going to do. we're going to take our graph and we're going to move it, in this case, up. How many spaces? We're going to go up 7 spaces. So up 7 spaces, okay? So think about what that means is going to happen. And I'm going to kind of show you guys what's going on here. I'm actually going to make a new table, okay? I'm going to have the original table that we had, which was this part right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I guess that's all we had. And then 1, -5, -2, and -4. That's all we had. Okay, so now what I want you to think about is we're going to make a brand new table. Okay, and I'm coming back because I heard something in the chat box here. Come back. It seems that if it's in the parentheses, it's the opposite, and if the number is outside, you don't change it. Brenda, you are exactly correct. You are right, ma'am. So look, y'all, I'm going to make a new table for g of x, which is f of x plus 7. Okay, so I want you to think about something. Our graph is going to go up 7 spaces. Since my graph is just moving up, then my x numbers are not going to change. Those x numbers are going to stay 1, 2, 3, and 4. And because we're moving in the upward direction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 7 to each of those numbers right here because we are moving our graph up that number of spaces. So 1 plus 7 is going to give me 8. 7 and -5 is going to leave me with 2. 7 and -2 is going to leave me with 5. And 7 with -4 is going to leave me with 3. So this right here, y'all, is my table for g of x, right? So I want you to notice I'm making my own table. I'm not worried about what it is they're giving me. I'm writing out so that I know exactly what's going to happen. Now when I get to this step, here is my x and here is my g. So when x is 1, the g value is 8. When x is 2, the g value is 2. When x is 3, the g value is 5. When x is 4, the g value is 3. So let me see. You still got the answers wrong. Hopefully now, Brenda, this is going to make a little bit more sense, okay? And so what I'm really going to do, y'all, for every single problem, I'm going to make my own table every single time, okay? I'm going to make my own table every single time. I'm not going to worry about the table that they give me. I'm going to make a new one, okay? So look, let's try to do 36. I'm going to try to do it the same way. So look, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit right here. Okay, and I want you to look what we have right here. It says g of x equals f of x minus 4. Now again, I'm going to ask you a question. Look at this part right here, and then look at what we have for A, and look at what we have for B. And I'm going to ask you a question. If I do a little stare and compare, if I look at this and I look at these two, which one do you think I would use? Would I use part A or would I use part B? What do you all think? Good, part B, perfect. You guys are getting this, excellent. Okay, so I want you to notice something here. Look what we have inside. We have a -4, right? Okay, so we know we have a minus. Look what we're going to do. We're going to move to the right that number of spaces. So I want you to think about what's happening here. I'm going to make this up, okay? If I have this point here, I'm just going to make up this point, right? I'm making up a couple of points here. So that point there, suppose it was a point 1, 2. And suppose I wanted to move to the right 4 spaces. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I would go 1, 2, 3, wait, let me see. 1, 2, 3. Did I put more than one? 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Okay, so I would go right here. And my new point, because I just moved to the right, would be the point 5, 2. So if all I did is move this red point right here, and I made it into this green point right there, by moving to the right 4 spaces, what I really did is I took that number right there, and we added 4 to it, right? That's how we moved to the right 4 spaces. Okay, so now, I know there's a minus there, but we're going to really be moving to the right. So look, let me come back to this problem, right? And what we're going to do, y'all, we're going to make our own table. So G equals f of x minus 4. Okay? And what we're doing is we're moving to the right 4 spaces. Since we're moving to the right 4 spaces, we're going to be adding 4 to each of those x values. So right here, negative 4 plus 4 is 0. 4 plus a negative 3 is a 1. 4 plus a negative 2 is a 2. 4 plus a negative 1 is a 3. And 4 plus 0 is 4. That's all we were doing. We were only moving to the right 4 spaces. That means we did not change our y values. So this number stayed 6. This one stayed 3. This one stayed negative 2. This one stayed negative 4. This one stayed negative 8. So now that we made our own table right here, I can say, look, let me look at this table and let me look at the answer that they're giving me. Okay. Well, hey, look, here's the 6, 3, negative 2, negative 4, negative 8. Those numbers are right there. All I need to do is fill in those numbers right there. Okay. Is that making sense, y'all, on how I'm able to come up with these numbers? Because I'm asking myself, what am I doing? Am I moving up? Am I moving down? Am I moving to the left or moving to the right? Is it making sense on how I'm able to figure that part out? A lot more sense? Good. Kathleen, great. I'm glad it's working. Good, Brenda. I'm glad it's working too. So look, y'all, let's try 37. We're going to go about it exactly the same way, okay? So look, I'm going to look at 37 here. And a couple of things that I notice on 37. Let's see. We have an x plus 2 on the inside, right? So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. That plus 2 looks like this part right here. So before I go on, that means I'm going to be moving to the left, in our case, 2 spaces. So what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to say, look, let me get a better, that's too light. I've got a darker gray than that. More colors. Yeah, let's go with a darker gray. There we go. So we know we're going to go to the left 2 spaces because of that part right there. And then I'm going to zoom in a little bit more and use blue right here. Look at that minus 1. That minus 1 is on the outside. So then we're going to go down 1 space. Okay, so we're going to go to the left 2 spaces and we're going to go down 1 space. Okay, so let me show you how I'm going to do this. I'm going to make my own table one more time. Okay, so I'm going to go X and G, because that's what we got, right? There's my G right there, and they kind of have it right here. So look, we're going to go real slow, just so we make sure we get this right. Okay, if we're going to go to the left 2 spaces, what I'm going to do with each of these numbers here, y'all, I'm going to subtract 2 because we are going to the left, right? So look, 1 minus 2 is a minus 1. 3 minus 2, positive 1. 5 minus 2, positive 3. 7 minus 2, 5. 9 minus 2, 7. 11 minus 2, 9. Okay? And then, since we're going to go down 1 space, moving down, I'm going to subtract 1 from each of those numbers, okay? So look, we'll go real slow. 2 minus 1 is 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 1 is 2. 6 minus 1 is 5. 8 minus 1 is 7. And 9 minus 1 is 8. Okay, now I'm going to look at the table that we just drew right here. So this was our table right here. And I'm going to look at the table that we have. Well, I don't have something at -1, but we do know that when x is 1, the y number or the g number is 3. We know that when x is 3, that number is 2. We know when this one is 5, the next one is 5. We know when this one is 7, that one is 7 too. And we know when this one is 9, that one is 8. And so again, we were able to make our table, right? So that part, y'all, that formula sheet with that part in the formula sheet is going to be really, really, really helpful in me figuring out, okay, how am I going to do these parts here? How am I going to get each of these? Okay. So let's try number 38. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of get rid of that right there. Here we go. So we can see number 38. So notice they give me a couple of points. They gave us 3 points. Okay. Those are points on the graph of y equals f of x. We want to find points on the graph of g of x, which is f of x plus 2. So y'all, we could do a couple of things. One thing we could do, we could go like this. And we could say, look, if I look at the points that I have here, zoom in just a little bit, not too much. There we go. I can say, look, when x is negative 10, y is 4. When x is 0, y is 6. And when x is 6, y is minus 3, right? So I'm making a table just like we've done before. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to make a table for g of x, which is f of x plus 2. So y'all, first thing I noticed, the plus 2 is outside, right? So that plus 2 is outside. What are we going to do? Let me see if I can zoom up here. Here we go. Look, we have it here. So in our case, we're going to go up 2 spaces, right? So if I'm going to go up 2 spaces, then what that means is those x numbers are going to stay exactly as they are, but I'm just going to add 2 to each of those numbers. So 4 and 2 would give me 6, 6 and 2 would give me 8, and negative 3 and 2 would give me 1, right? And I have a table, but it's not asking me to write a table. It's asking me to write my points. So we can write our points. Look, we'll go negative 10 and 6, 0 and 8, and 6 and 1. Okay. Let's see. What do y'all think so far? Is 2.7, so the guys, we got one more to do, it's 39, but as we're going through this, do you feel like these problems are getting a little bit easier to understand and how to go about them? What do y'all think? A little bit? Yeah, better? Okay, good. Good. How was the number one seem to be? What do you mean, Brenda? Like the negative 10.6? Is that part?
Well, negative 3 plus 2.
Oh, should have been negative 1, right? Yeah, I see what you're saying. On the last one, yes, that should have been a negative 1 down here. You are right. That's my bad. Oops. Negative 1. Oops. There we go. You're right now. Good, good, good. All right. So guys, look, let's take a look at number 39 because it's real similar. And so look, I'm going to clean this mess up. And so 39 is kind of like the first one that we did. And Pathlin, I know you were asking about, is there another one kind of like that? 39 definitely is. So let's take a look. Negative 5, 4 is on the graph of y equals f of x. So this is a point on y equals f of x. Remember, this is my x, y'all, and this is my y. What we want to do is we want to find a point on the graph of g of x, which is f of x minus 4 in parentheses plus 3, right? So look, first thing I'm going to notice here, this minus 4 is inside, right? That minus 4 is inside my parentheses. So that kind of looks like this. So we're going to move to the right 4 spaces. Okay, so we know we're going to go to the right 4 spaces. And because we're going to the right, what we're going to do is we're going to take our x value and we're going to add 4 to it. So look, when we make our new point, we're going to take -5, we're going to add 4 to that. That's going to give me -1. Okay. Then the second thing is, look where this +3 is. This +3 is outside the parentheses, right? So if the +3 is on the outside, we're going to go up. In our case, we're going to go up 3 spaces. So we're also going to go up 3 spaces. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take our y value and we're going to add 3 to it. So let's take -4. Let's add, I'm sorry, +4. Let's add 3 to that. That number should give me 7. So if I come back to number 39, my answer here would be -1 and 7. So let me stop sharing this real quick, y'all. I'm going to pull something up again because I want to make sure that you guys are feeling okay about some of this stuff. So again, I'm going to pull up the formula sheet that I have right here for you guys. And so like I said, y'all, the formula sheet, I sent it through the announcements on Blackboard. So if you check the announcement that got sent out today, that's where this formula sheet kind of came from. That's where I pulled it from. Okay, so I did send you the formula sheet there. But what I want to point out is the way I'm able to figure out how to do these problems is by looking at this piece right here, and then ask myself, okay, what am I doing? Am I moving it to the left? Am I moving it to the right? Am I moving it up? Am I moving it down? Am I taking my x number and dividing it by something, right? That's how I'm going to kind of figure these problems out. And really what you're going to do, you're going to do like a little stare and compare, like what do I have and what is the formula kind of have, or the formula telling me to do, right? Or kind of like the instructions, okay? So again, just to give you a heads up, I did send the formula sheet through the announcements. So if you check the announcement that got sent out this morning through Blackboard, this is where it kind of came from, okay? So I'm hoping that now that we went through those 4 or 5 problems, whatever it was, 34 through 39, 5 problems, I guess, I'm hoping that that makes a little bit more sense, okay? So let me stop sharing this, and I am going to pull up the notes again, or the review. And again, y'all, all I did here was I just printed this out, right? I just went to the review guide, and I printed out, let me see, I had something else. Oh, you're welcome, Brenda. So let me ask y'all another question. So we've gone through, let me pull this back up. We just did 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Again, guys, I'm recording this. I'm going to send the video out this afternoon once I'm done with this. But are there any other questions on the review that you want me to do? Erica, I see that you just joined us. So Erica, just to give you a heads up, what I've been doing, let's see if she's still connecting. So I'll wait till she kind of comes back in. But while she's reconnecting, Brenda, Kathleen, any other questions that you all want me to go over on anything from review? Any other problems? Don't be shy. Remember, this is me reviewing is to help you all out, okay? So are there any other questions? Not Brenda, not right now. And Brenda, I got your message earlier, so I will take care of that. Kathleen, you're good too? Okay. So guys, give me 1 second. I want to share one more thing with you guys since you're still here. So let me do this. Let me stop sharing that. Let me share my announcement that I sent out. Okay, so y'all, I am going to open up the test. It will be open up. It'll open up as of tonight, like by 7 o'clock. And it's going to stay open until next Tuesday. So basically, you can take the test anytime between today, tonight, and next Tuesday. The one thing I would tell you, don't take it until you feel like you're really, really ready for it, right? So if you're not ready tonight, don't worry about it. It'll be there. Just don't mess with it until you're ready to get started. There is a 4-hour time limit, right? So once you start it, the timer will kind of click on. You can use the calculator or those calculator apps that we've talked about, like the ones that I've used in the videos. You can definitely use the formula sheet. It's right here. Guys, sometimes computer glitches occur. If this happens, just close the individual window. Like just X out of the window. Don't submit it. Just X out. It'll say, "Are you sure you want to leave?" Yeah, just say, "I want to leave," and then you can go back and reopen it again. You'll be fine. Okay. That happened to a student in one of my other classes today. He did that. And he was good. And then obviously tonight we were doing the review. So um, if y'all don't have any other questions, I just wanted to make sure that you guys were good with that. Are y'all feel okay about the instructions? You guys, you're gonna take it on your own time. Just whenever you're ready to do it, take the test, okay? But are y'all good on the instructions on how it's gonna work, all that kind of good stuff? Yeah, Brenda, you're good. Catherine, are we good too? Catherine, we're good. Okay. Um, so let me stop sharing this. Erica, I see you're back with us. I'm glad you're here. So Erica, I was just kind of going over the instructions for the test. So the test will actually open up tonight, and it's going to stay open until next Tuesday. So you can take the test whenever you want to take it, anytime between now and Tuesday. There is a 4-hour time limit, so you can't do the test like in pieces. You got to do it all in one kind of chunk. But so just make sure whenever you start it, you have time to get it done. There is a formula sheet right here. Just a quick uh, message. Sometimes computer glitches occur. Sometimes the test, you're working on it. You click to the next question, nothing loads up. You're waiting, nothing loads up. Just close the window, and it's going to say, "Are you sure you want to close it?" Yeah, you'll be good. Don't worry. It saves all the problems you've done up to that point, and then reopen it, and you'll be fine. Just don't submit it until you're ready to submit it. So let me stop sharing this. And Erica, I know you just joined us, so I'm going to show you what we've been doing. Let's see, here we go. So Erica, today what we did, and again, I've been recording this, but we went through problems 34 through 39. Those are the questions that both Brenda and Catherine were asking about. But since you're here, I want to make sure that if there's any particular questions, Erica, that you want me to go over, let me know, and I'm more than happy to go over them. Okay. Any questions, Erica? You can either turn on your mic and tell me, or you can put it in the chat. Whatever feels better
For
for
some
you.
reason, I was having a hard time with question number 12, and I don't know why, because I know that I've solved,
Definitely.
similar
Let's
problems
take a look at.
already and not had an issue with it. But
Yeah.
I got pretty stuck on number 12. So I don't know if you can go over
Okay.
that one for me.
We will definitely go over
I
number
haven't had a
12 right
chance,
now.
unfortunately, to go through all of them. I had some issues with
Okay.
my kids today, so I haven't gone through the entire review, but
Yeah.
that's where
No,
I'm
no
at so
problem. No
far.
problem. Okay. So I tell you what we're gonna do. I'm gonna do two problems. I know you're asking about number 12, but I want to do problem number 11, and then I'm going to do problem number 12 because those questions, y'all, are similar questions in the sense that these questions both have square root problems. Okay. So look, let's do 37 first, and then we'll come back and we'll do. I'm sorry. Let's do 11 first, and we'll come back and do 12. So y'all, in number 11, when I'm trying to solve an equation um, that has what are these things called? Square roots. What I need to do, I need to get the part that has the square root by itself. So I'm going to take this whole piece right here, and I'm going to move it to the other side. And that's going to leave me with x equals the square root of 24 minus 2x. Okay, we always want to get the square root part by itself, y'all, so that what we can do now is square both sides. That's going to leave me with x squared. Remember, the square root and the square will cancel. This is a 24 minus 2x. And then what I'm going to do, because I have an x squared, I want to get 0 on the right side. So now I'm going to move the 2x over, and I'm going to move the 24 over. Okay, so that's going to give me x squared plus 2x minus 24 equals 0. Okay, so now the equation that I'm trying to solve, y'all, is this one right here. Okay, so in trying to solve this problem, the first step is I need to see if I can factor it. And the way I know I can factor it is if the number in front of the x squared is a 1, then we can say, look, let's just multiply those two numbers together. So 1 times negative 24, negative 24. Let's see. I need to find two numbers that multiply to negative 24 but add up to a 2. So I can go 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. And because it's a negative 24, the numbers here in each of those pairs, one of them is going to have to be negative to give me that negative 24. So y'all, if I make that into a negative 4 and a positive 6, here's my negative 24 when I multiply, and when I add them together, there's my positive 2. So now we can just say, look, let's factor this out. It's going to look exactly like this. X with a minus 4, because that's the first number, and X with a positive 6, because that's the second number. And then we're just going to set each part equal to 0. So when I move that 4 over, it becomes a positive 4. And when we move that 6 over, it becomes a negative 6, right? And we come up with our two answers. And then we still got to do the part that's probably the most time consuming, y'all, which is the check. Okay. So look, let me show you how I'm going to check the following. The first thing I'm going to do, y'all, I'm going to come back to my original question right here. And I'm going to write it down somewhere on this side. Okay, here we go. It was x minus the square root of 24 minus 2x equals 0. Okay. And now, so we're going to check our answers. Let's check 4. Okay. So we're going to check 4. So I'm going to put 4 minus 24 minus 2 times 4 is supposed to be equal to 0. Okay. So this is 24. 2 times 4 is 8, and that's supposed to be equal to 0. Okay. 24 minus 8 is 16, and that's supposed to be equal to 0. The square root of 16 is 4, and 4 minus 4 is equal to 0. So far, that answer is working out for us, right? We got x equals 4, we plugged it in, it worked. What we're going to do now, y'all, we're going to check x equals negative 6. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing right here. We're going to go check negative 6. So I'm going to put negative 6 minus 24 minus 2 times negative 6. That is supposed to be equal to 0. The negative 6, let's see. This is 24. A minus 2 and a minus 6 all gives me a positive 12. It is supposed to be equal to 0. I don't know yet. Negative 6, let's see. 24 and 12 is 36. Supposed to be equal to 0. The square root of 36 is 6. But notice, negative 6 minus 6, y'all, that's a negative 12. That is not equal to 0. So what does that tell me? That answer is no good. We only have one answer, and it's x equals 4. Okay? So, look, I wanted us to do number 11. We're going to go, y'all, now, and we're going to do number 12, and it's going to be very similar. But once I do number 12, we're going to come back, and we're going to compare the two problems, okay? So, look, let's take a look at number 12. Here is number 12. Okay, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to write down the problem. Square root of 9x plus 79 equals 2x plus 17. Okay, there we go. Guys, just like we did in the other problem, we want to get, see this part here? We got the square root part by itself. If you notice on number 12, the square root part is already by itself. So from here, y'all, we can just square both sides. Okay? Now that square and that square root are going to cancel out. 9x plus 79. This piece right here, y'all, the best way to square it is to write it out twice. Okay? And then let's just multiply. So 2x and 2x, 4x squared. 2x and 17 is a 34x. 17 and 2x is another 34x. And 17 and 17, hold on, y'all, I'm going to get my calculator. I can figure out what's 17 squared. 289. Okay. Now, the next thing I need to do is 9x plus 79 equals 4x squared. we can actually, excuse me, we can actually combine those together. That's going to leave me with a 68x plus 289. Okay. Now, I'm going to minus 9x and 79 on both sides, because remember, I need to get 0 on one side of the equation anytime I have a problem with an x squared. Okay. So now, this is going to leave me with 0 equals 4x squared. 68 minus 9 is a positive 59 with an x. 289 minus 79 is a positive 210. Okay, now when I get to this step, we have a couple of options. One option is we can try to factor this thing, but because the number in front of the x squared is not a 1, I still got to multiply 4 times 210. That actually gives me 840. And then, y'all, what I need to do is I need to start looking for pairs that are going to add up to the number 59. That might take me some time to do, right? So what I would actually recommend to do in this problem is let's use the quadratic formula. Okay. And in doing this, y'all, we need to find 3 things. We need to know what A, B, and C are, right? So remember, A is my number 4, B is a 59, C is a 210, right? And then y'all, remember, it's on the formula sheet, but I'm just going to use the quadratic formula, and I'm going to put my numbers in here and see what we end up with, okay? So I'm going to go x equals negative. B is the number 59, so I'm going to put a 59 right here, plus or minus 59 squared minus 4 times A. A was the number 4, times C, which was 210 all over 2 times 4. So that first step, y'all, I'm just plugging my numbers in, okay? I want to check before I go on. Let me see. Are we okay in how we got to where we are so far, y'all? Am I doing okay in terms of how we're using the quadratic formula? I just want to make sure before I go on. Are we good up to this point? Anybody? Yeah? Yeah. Kathleen, you like these? Erica, we're good so far? Okay, excellent. Just double checking, y'all. Okay. Now, look, first thing here, negative 59, still negative 59. All right, y'all, what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to use my calculator. So I have 59 and I got to square it. So this is when my calculator comes in real helpful. 59 squared, big number, 3481. But I'm not worried about it because, again, this is why I have my calculator, right? Now look at this part here. Look at the numbers I'm going to multiply. Negative 4 times positive 4 times 210. So let me do that. Negative 4 times 4 times 210 is negative 3360. So minus 3360 all over 2 times 4. I don't need a calculator for that. That's 8. So negative 59 plus or minus. Okay, so I'm going to take my calculator again. What is 3481 minus 3360? That's 121 all over 8. Okay. Negative 59 plus or minus. Okay, on my calculator, y'all, the square root of 121 is 11. Okay, now when I get to this point, we're almost done. Remember, I'm going to do 2 things. One of them is going to be negative 59 minus 11 over 8. The other one is going to be negative 59 plus 11 all over 8. Okay? So if I do this one here, that's a negative 70 over 8. I can reduce it by dividing them both by 2. That is a negative 35 over 4. This one here is a negative 48 divided by 8, and that gives me a negative 6. So notice what we have. 2 answers, right? Just like we had 2 answers before, we got 2 answers now. But remember, we're not quite done because we still need to do the check, right? And this is the part that kind of takes a little bit of time. So look, guys, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to rewrite my problem. Square root of, 9x plus 79 equals 2x plus 17. And Erica, I want to apologize. I know you asked me to do number 12, and I'm just realizing right now that my number 12 might be slightly different from yours. Like we might have different numbers, but the process and how I'm doing it is going to be exactly the same, okay? So look, y'all, we came up with two answers. I'm going to check the one that is probably going to be easier for me to plug in first, like -6, because it's just a nice integer, right? I don't have fractions or anything. So let me check -6. So let me come back over here, and I'm going to go 9 times -6 plus 79. It's supposed to be equal to 2 times -6 plus 17. Okay. So 9 times -6 is a -54 plus 79. This is a -12 plus 17. So this here is the square root of 25. And -12 plus 17 is 5. And yeah, that part checks out. So far we know that x equals -6 appears to be one of the answers that we're going to have. Erica, this is the part where you said you're making a mistake. Yeah, the check is the part, guys, that's really, really important to do because that part is going to tell you whether or not the answers we came up with are actually correct. I want you to notice, look at the number we plugged in. -6 wasn't really all that tough to do. Let's do the tough one now, okay? So remember, the other answer we had was what? -35 over 4, right? Okay, so look, let me come back over here. And remember, we had a 9x plus 79 equals 2x plus 17. And now we're plugging in -35 over 4. Whoa, how do I do that? We're going to go super slow, y'all. First off, remember, I'm going to think of this 9 as 9 over 1 because the number we're plugging in is -35 over 4. And I'm going to think of that 79 as 79 over 1. Okay? I'll do the same thing here. 2 over 1, -35 over 4, plus 17 over 1. And I'm doing like this, y'all, because I have fractions here, okay? So look, I'm going to go super slow. I'm going to take my calculator. What's 9 times -35? Oops. 9 times -35. -315 over 4. Now, I want you to notice something, y'all. My denominator here is 4. So I'm going to multiply this one here by 4 so that I can already get my common denominator, okay? So I'm going to take my calculator and I'm going to say, look, I know 1 times 4 on the bottom gives me 4. What's 79 times 4? I don't know. 316, okay? All right, over here, let's see what's going to happen. Well, this 2 and that 4 will reduce. So that's going to leave me with a -35 over 2 plus, I'm going to do the same thing. Look, if this denominator is 2, let me multiply those by 2 so that we can see whether, if this, we can kind of get these numbers together, okay? So look, I'm going to keep working here. The bottom is 4. Since we have a common denominator, we can just add the numbers on top. A -315 and a positive 316 is just the number 1. Okay? And because the denominator here is the same, I can write it over 2. -35 plus 34 is a negative 1. Okay? We're almost done. We got to take the square root of this now. So remember, when I'm taking the square root of a fraction, I'm going to take the square root of the top and the square root of the bottom. So the square root of 1 is 1, and the square root of 4 is 2, but look what we have on this side. We got a -1/2. Those aren't equal. So what is that telling me? That x equals -35 over 4 is not a good answer. The only answer that worked was, what number did we plug in? Was -6, right? So look, y'all, I'm going to zoom back out, zoom back out, zoom back out. I'm going to come to number 12, and the only answer we had here was -6. And when we did number 11, I think we only got one answer too, which was 4, right? Okay, now I'm going to zoom out like a whole lot. I want you to look at number 11. This here is not only the work. Oh wait, here's the check. The check is, here we go. Let me do it like this. Okay. So this here is the work and the check for number 11. And then I want you to look at the work and the check for number 12. Let me find a different color to use. Here we go. Whoa. Okay. And I'm going to zoom out even more, just so you can kind of see the big picture. I know it's really far. You can't make that much out of it. But which problem was shorter for us to do? Number 11 or number 12? What do you all think? Which one seemed shorter for us to do, 11 or 12? Anyone know? Just by looking at the work that we wrote up there. Anyone? 11, 12, 8. Yeah. 11, right? Okay. So guys, there's only 2 questions on the review that have these kind of square root type problems, right? So remember I told you that when I made the test, the 20 questions came directly from the review. So let me ask you a question. If one of those questions was on the test, which one do you think I put on there? Do you think I put on 11 or do you think I put on 12? And I know that, we've never really met each other in person or whatever, but I'm hoping that you kind of know the type of person that I am. What kind of question do you think which one do you think I would have put on there between those two? Do you think I would have put 11 or do you think I would have put 12? What do you think? Which one would I have put on? Oops. There you go. You got it. Erica, you're flattering me already. You're right. 12 to make it harder? No. Guys, life is already hard enough as it is. No, I definitely would not have put number 12. So so Erica, when you asked me to do number 12, I wanted to do number 12 to show you how to do it, right? But I wanted y'all to see, look, question 11 and 12 are really testing, 11 and 12 are really kind of testing the same sort of idea, but 11 is a much easier way of understanding that concept, because number 12 involves me to use the quadratic formula, and then the answers that I come up with are not so pretty. So when I check my answer on number 12, especially for that negative 35 over 4, yeah, it definitely takes a long time for us to figure it out. So no, y'all, on the test, I picked up something more like number 11 to put on your test, okay? So good. I'm glad, Erica, that you asked me that question. Y'all, we still got a couple of minutes. Are there any other questions y'all want me to go over? Anything? Okay, so let's see. Guys, just to give you a heads up, the review for the test is going to stay open until next Tuesday, okay? So the review for the test is going to stay open until next Tuesday. The other assignments are due by tomorrow night. Brenda, I did get your message, so don't worry. So make sure that you guys finish up, up to like 2.7, 2.8, whatever it is. Make sure you finish up those problems by tomorrow night. And then really what y'all can do, and the quiz, don't forget guys, there's the quiz too. And then between like tonight and say next Monday, keep working through the review, okay? Whatever questions you guys have to review, keep working on them. In the meantime, y'all, between now and say next Monday or next Tuesday, if there's any questions that you guys come up with, like, sir, I don't know how to do this one on the review, take a picture of the problem, send it to me. I'll make a video, I'll send it out on Pronto so that everybody can see it, okay? I want to make sure that you guys feel good about that stuff. Guys, I don't know how many of you all were here one of the last times I showed this, but somebody in one of my other classes had mentioned, you know what, sir, it's really hard to see the videos you send on Pronto. It's really hard to see them on on my phone. So I said, you don't have to watch them on your phone. So look, y'all, I'm just going to share something real quick so y'all can see this. You see, I think this is coming up. Here we go. If you scroll right here, you're going to hit the Pronto thing. It's going to open up in a new link, and I'm going to share that with you guys right now. So let me do this. And here we go. Okay, and so you can see right here, and so like the other day, y'all, I sent a couple of videos on some homework questions, so you can click on it right here, and then it just opens up in your browser, and you can see everything on the computer, okay? So there is that Pronto tab from the on Blackboard, so you'll be able to see them there, okay? All righty, so guys, let me stop recording.